everybody. I wanted to do a little bit of a video. I just watched a piece by RT News where they exposed fake news being produced by Middle Eastern looking people. And what I want to try to explain to everybody is that there is an overseen elite group of people that have been running our world since before Yeshua, probably. And definitely they're from Rome. Okay. And they are from the Talmud Jews. And they are from the Pharisees. And they are from the Jesuits. And they are from the black Jesuits, as far as I can tell. I'm not trying to be vulgar racist wise. It seems like Islam was to create a black Jesuit order rooted in the black Moors who trafficked the devout Christians of Yeshua that followed the Orthodox Church. So these are all groups. We have the same groups in place still in the world, and they have been operating together. All these groups that now say that, oh, we hate Jews, we hate Muslims, we hate blacks, we hate whites. Well, only the people hating are down in the bottom here. The people at top are manipulating those orders and groups and sects and whatever, religions, cults, states of people to keep us at each other's throat. And they lie all the time. They've been lying to us for a very long time. There are many, many, many lies in history that the people have eaten up and changed the course of history by buying into bigotry, fear, malfeasance, all the negative things. So stop thinking, honestly, stop thinking black, white, Jewish, Muslim, Christian in a lot of ways, and think people who believe in a higher state of men controlling the world. Men and women. I'm sure there are some women up there. I just don't. I don't know. I can't even see the gender there. It's just kind of a misogynistic, male-ish, anti-woman, anti-baby kind of world. So there are some very powerful people who want to be able to traffic humanity, and then there's the rest of us. Okay, and that's what these are. The Talmud Jews are baby traffickers, I'm sure, but they are human traffickers. They were slave traders. They were the bankers for Rome who affected slave trading. Rome was a slave trading empire. It conquered people and made them slaves. They gave them, quote, citizenship. Sound familiar? So it would conquer them and give them citizenship of Rome, except in our case, we don't know we're Roman citizens. We're not just Roman citizens. We are the Rome citizen. Because we're the surety, okay, for everything going on. And Islam is just a slave trading business paradigm too. They're masking themselves and hiding themselves as religions, and you want to call them cults. They're not, to me, they're just slave trading business organizations that have wrapped themselves in whatever way could get them the most followers, control, actually in a subversive way. So we're not being overtly warred upon or overtly overthrown. We are being subversively, enemy within, overthrown. You sit and look at the situation in Britain where whether this is true or not, I have not vetted it, but they gave this list of all these towns that had Muslim mayors and Muslim courts and all these things over there. What they do is they're just working for the Pope, guys. The Queen's administrators, the Queen is in cahoots with the Pope to undermine Republican governments. Those are through treaties. You can find this stuff in history. They have been colluding after the 1666 Trust Act, when the Pope took over England and the City of London, and it took over all of the colonies in administrative rule. in bankruptcy, in banking. It took over every bank of England, okay? And it's been administrated by the Pope and his Rothschild demonic cult over there since then, okay? 1666. That was a false flag, that the burning of London. All that stuff was exactly what they're trying to do now. Someone came into London, said something had happened that didn't happen. The people freaked out. By the time the truth came forward, they had burned it. I mean, at least that's my understanding of the history of the fall of the city of London. It was all orchestrated by propaganda. And it was orchestrated by propaganda of servants of the Pope. The Pope is a position of power, a seat, where that man, that position, is supposed to be seen by all of us as the king of all churches, okay? And the king and the keeper of all the banking between states. That's what he does. You all think that the Pope is just some dude that sits in a chair. The Roman Catholic Church came from the Holy Roman Empire, came from Rome. Rome, all this is a march of Caesar under a different color, or the march of the demonic factions, the Baal-worshipping factions of Rome, having moved forward through time and morphing. It's the same metaphor. And that's why it's so easy for me. Whenever you read the Bible, if you're a true Christian, and you think about Rome, think Pope. Okay, apply the stories of what happened in the Bible to the same allegory and metaphor here, and it starts to make a lot more sense. So I keep making these really not law videos, because where we're not talking about actual statute of law and how to traverse the bar and all that stuff. Walking the law. The reason why, for me, it's easy to walk the law is because I understand the players. And you need to understand, everybody in every part of the world, there are people in your own government. Every government in the world is like this. But the ones that are holding the power are the worst of all, because, especially in our case, we don't even realize that we are completely cooed in the law. And the law is being presented to you in one way, and they are literally, with intent, on the backside of that, just doing what they want. So they're raping the people with these really strict drug laws and this and that, all these crimes, that really oppress our substantial rights, if not align them completely. In practicality, travel, being taxed. I mean, we literally have had all of our substantial rights horribly aliened by the legislatures and the judiciary enacting those. And we have an authoritarian state. Okay, we have an authoritarian judicial state that has been cooed by servants of the Pope. This is the significance of the titles of nobility, 13th Amendment. We called them, we said, hey, you attorney, esquires for the bar union, you are not righteous men, and we can't trust your loyalty. So you can be here, but you can't do this, this, and this, and you are barred from the institutions of our state. So you know what they did? They ignored us, because they had guns and force and stolen money, and they had control within the banks. They controlled our instruments already. By the time we realized that we had been couped through sedition in the banking and in the bond, and in the way that we thought, oh, we can still do business with our little esquire friends from Britain. And because we have a lot of British subjects that are working with America, and we're working together, and blah, 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 blah. Even though I had a rebellion, we had a peace treaty. We got some autonomy from that. We still did business with them. We still did banking. So we were using the esquires of Europe, who were servants of the Pope, because the Queen had the Kingdom of England had already been, Britannia had been conquered by the banking and unified by the banking of the Pope. So the whole Britannia instrument, the Pope controlled, and those attorneys hide baby trafficking and corruption, and all the disgusting things that their group of people do, which is far more heinous on a daily basis. Seriously. Hurting people, violating the public trust, violating the public peace, that are completely 100%. Sorry about that. My dog's running around the house. So, in any case, these people, they're the same groups. Okay, so the propaganda, and they've worked their way through history. And when you realize that, you start looking back in the past, like to the Holocaust, quote unquote, and World War II with the rise of Nazism, which is Ashkenazi Jews, and that there weren't 6 million Jews killed, and it's like a false flag for the creation of these states. I mean, you have to look at, when you look at it retrospectively, if you understand that we have had this guiding, hidden, evil hand manipulating and attacking us whenever they can, and undermining us wherever they can, since the formation of our country. And they're now sitting in the bowels of the state, affecting treason and sedition on a regular basis. The media, that is, we are this heavy media thing. We created all this data feed and phones and stuff, and we can get all this media and all these news, and we're being inundated with fake, created, orchestrated, movie-style news. Fake news, or reality TV. Our news is reality TV, folks. Because I remember when they call it reality TV, and then they show you that there's actually, like, it's not really like, they're not just watching them walk around the house. They're actually, setting up shots and stuff too. So they're just setting up shots and making you believe that this is how they live. Thus, reality television. So it's not on a stage. It's just in these people's houses, and they're living in their set. Okay. That's reality TV. Okay. You're watching fake news, which is pretty much reality TV. They're sitting in what looks like a news desk, but they're not giving you news. They're giving you movies and lies and propaganda. That's what they are. They look like they're in a newsroom set, pretending to be anchormen of the news. They're acting as newsmen, the same way your legislature is acting as your legislature at law, and your judiciary is acting like your judiciary at law. The attorneys, the higher up attorneys, know all this stuff, guys. They know it. I can prove that they know it by the way they write Title 28 and some of the administrative notes. They know exactly what's going on. Okay? And they're going to continue to extort us until we realize that the only thing that's real is like what's in front of your face, that you can feel and touch and see. And even some of that is suspect. Everything you see on TV is just as suspect as the stuff you read on the internet. And it's like, it's energy-driven kind of reality, and it's a reactionary kind of reality that they're grooming here. They're seeing what you will tolerate, what you can get away with, and they will push you. They will push the boundaries of the law and the world till they achieve utter control and the capacity to enslave every human under their banking, human trafficking practices. These are human trafficking groups, okay? The Talmudic Jews are human traffickers. They've been human traffickers their whole history. For Rome. The Islamics, the Moors trafficked the blacks from Africa. Yeah, that's who brought you here. The white men may have bought you, but your black Moorish brothers sold you and captured you and made you a commodity. So go be mad at them. So all you Moors that or American blacks that are saying you're Moor and and all this propaganda with how Moors, United States is, that's all propaganda. This is, we are under heavy attempts to rewrite history propaganda. Okay, they're trying to rewrite history, folks, by promoting propaganda and getting people to tear down statues and trying to say that certain people founded this country 25,000 years. I'm like, I don't care about 25,000 years ago. The Norse were here in the 65,000. Before that, there's, these people think that we don't remember. Like they think that we're going to be remade. And they are trying to remake us into a slave world. A world where the people surrender to the tyranny of state, the name and the mask of state. All the while they're behind the mask of state, abusing us, trafficking us, murder, mayhem, rape, pillage, resource, rape. I mean, you name it. That's what they do. That's what they do. Some states just have a prettier face. They're more polished. But I'm going to tell you, in the United States government, unbeknownst to Mr. Trump and his administration, there are people in that government that run the world more than anybody that's the head of state, because they're colluding with the old Pharisees and the old Talmuds and the old Roman Empire cults and the Jesuit order and everybody that hates free thinking Republican people who believe in the greater authority of the common law that comes within us, instead of a group of men or women, particularly men usually, who declare themselves the king of something and go and annihilate everybody until they achieve it, or there's no one left to disagree with it. Okay. So the whole world is propaganda. Most of what you think you know is not the truth. Most of what you think you know about the United States is not the truth as far as what it is, where it came from, what's it derived from, who controls it, how did it come to be, and the instruments thereof, including, taxation. Almost everything, because you've been shown this is what the Constitution says we are. But then when you start, if you learn that, okay, and you learn what it means and you learn your history and all this stuff, you realize that's not what the government does. And they act like, they try to pretend and make all these pictures and propaganda and instruments and all this pomp and circumstances and uniforms and shields and all this stuff, big buildings, all this magnanimous city in there, District of Columbia, New Rome. It should be, when we bring it into the United States, I'm going to suggest we either call it the State Jerusalem or the State of New Rome. I haven't decided which. It'll be Washington or District of Columbia, New Rome. Anyway, just, it's all lies, folks, not just the news. And there are people of all faiths, colors, genders, whatever, and probably even aliens, that are working collusively worldwide in the bowels of our government, having infiltrated them and cooped them, and definitely controlling all the banking, who are attempting with great force, and have since the creation of our country, since the definitive Treaty of Verona, these four beasts have been colluding and conspiring to undermine every form of government that pops up that does not label them the kings of the world. And that's the fact of the matter. And until people start looking behind the curtain to those groups and seeing the orchestration, you're not going to be, once you know that that orchestration is there, this stuff becomes like so obvious, man. It just becomes obvious. So start looking behind the curtain, the whole Wizard of Oz parable. And don't believe everything you see. Half of what you hear isn't that the word. And know that your government is in coup, and that everyone you see, it could be really good or really bad, or in between, but and unknowing. But there are really bad people running around our government hiding, trafficking children, trafficking babies, selling our babies, stealing our babies from people. And I'm going to tell you, I don't even know the number of the babies, because the people, if the people running our government, okay, how would we know if they gave all the babies birth certificates? How do you people are under this presumption that what is making the government function, or the function, that it's being followed behind the scenes, and it's not in the judiciary. It is not. These people are not your judiciary. They are not lawful. They are not conforming to our law. They are not our judiciary. And we know that because of the 13th Amendment in addition to that. And since they are openly acting as though they are not our judiciary, as created and described by our law, if they're not them, but they're acting like they are, that's a fraud. And they're acting like they are even though they aren't, and remove themselves from the law over here, thinking that they could coup us 200 years, 205 years ago. This is a very long plan. But like I said, you're talking about the people who are running the world right now are the same people who ran the world 2,000 plus years ago. They have created the rise and fall of many a nation and many a chieftain, and manipulated many a people into war with their lies and propaganda over that time period. And every time they do it, they know it's going to happen, and so they always are able to hedge it, and they make money. They literally make money at manipulating our reality and getting us to fall for their lies. So I hope that people, start to realize this greater picture, because it's a whole lot easier to wrap your head around the daily activities that are going to start running in front of you here in a little bit, and seeing through the veil of what's a good thing and what's a bad thing, and what's a lie, what's propaganda, and whether someone's good and whether someone's bad. It'll be so much easier when you start realizing this bigger picture. It's so much easier if people start waking up and they take off those rose-colored glasses. So, in any case, I really appreciate RT News exposing that to the world. I know what happens. I don't trust hardly anything anymore. I try to check it out, but I also don't know what isn't being covered, and whether some crazy thing that comes through the live wire is truth, and then it's just squashed and suppressed. That happens too, because it's just so bizarre. It's actually truth. So, I love you all. Please be safe. Verily, verily, those that shall see, and those that shall hear, shall hear. Namaste.